Dak was like, okay, that's enough. I need to get back in there stat. The LA Rams are at home this week. Not sure if it'll feel like that, though. The Dallas Cowboys are in town. But who are they going to bring as the starting quarterback?
Elliott's wide open. He's going to walk to a first down and more.
DJ Khaled wrote a song about Cooper Rush, I think. He's now 4-0 as a starter. In week 4, over 8 yards per attempt, 2 TDs, no picks, rating close to 110.
Little token play action. What a great throw, right on the money.
So why put away the 21-12 album? Or that's to say, why bench him? Because after watching him from the sideline, Dak was like, okay, that's enough. I need to get back in there stat. I kid, sort of. But Prescott says he's ready. We'll have to see if the trainers agree. No matter who is tossing the old pigskin around for the boys, they'll usually be throwing in the direction of CeeDee Lamb. Question is, how often? He's coming off back-to-back big weeks, close to 100 yards and a score last week.
Pressure on Rush, fires, caught for the touchdown, CeeDee Lamb.
But you know who he'll have to get away from to keep his mojo going. Jalen Ramsey. He wasn't even targeted last week, still found a way to defend a pass.
And he's able to get a hand on the ball, because if he doesn't, there were blockers out in front.
So how did Deebo Samuel go off against LA last week? Ramsey didn't follow him all over the formation. Deebo's 2 biggest plays against Darion Kendrick. He was their week 4 Waldo.
3rd down and 3, quick throw, what a catch. Samuel stays upright. Terrific catch and run. One-on-one with Ramsey. Can't bring him down. Samuel, highlight reel, touchdown.
Cowboys got Dalton Schultz back in week 4, just didn't catch a pass on 3 targets. Noah Brown and Michael Gallup round out their primary pass-catching unit.
Rush has it. Gallup for a first down. Over the middle, has a completion. It's Brown inside the 15.
LA's pass defense, or Kendrick, gave up those 2 big pass plays to Samuel, so their number line versus Jimmy Garoppolo doesn't look good. 100.7 rate, close to 9 yards per attempt. Hey, tackling is part of pass defense, and they didn't pick him.
Samuel out on the edge, conservative throw, and a first down.
They have to think their pass rush will show up this week. They took the week off in San Francisco.
1, 2,
Didn't
1,
sack
2,
Jimmy
1,
G
2, 3,
once.
1, 2, 3.
Hit him a single time. Maybe someone just bumped into him.
Garoppolo protected, finds Juwan Jennings for a first down. Nice throw.
Cowboys O-line is allowing a pressure rate of 29% in their 4 games. That's not great. But they only allowed 1 sack on 27 pass attempts last week.
Rush directing traffic, trying to make it pay off. Going over the middle, it is caught.
The pass rush could be big when you flip things around. Matthew Stafford's makeshift line did not handle what San Francisco had cooking. He got sacked 7 times, hit 11.
When they have fraud.
Higbee in week 4. 10 receptions, 73 yards.
Instead, he comes out to Higbee. His 5th catch and a first down.
Cooper Kupp, 19 targets, 14 receptions, 122 yards.
Stafford keeps, throws, Kupp on the sideline. Got it.
The next most on the team,
This better
6
stay out.
targets.
God damn
and
it.
Stafford should have thrown more than 1 INT due to his tunnel vision. Neither Higbee or Kupp even had 1 20-yard play last week. Will be real interesting to see what they change up versus Dallas.
This one for Skoranek. And he's got a first down inside the 40.
It will also be real interesting to see how often Trayvon Diggs travels with Kupp. Diggs picks it, he 4. He should have to cover Kupp every down for our entertainment.
Wentz decides to go for it all, going deep, and it's intercepted. Trayvon Diggs. Guess who?
Will Dallas get the Zeke and Tony Pollard that were huge for them in week 3?
Here is a toss to Elliott on 3rd down and 12. Gets a block, gets a first down. Here is Pollard on that side, trying to hit a home run.
Or the version of them we saw in week 4.
Here they'll run it to Elliott on the left side. Not much there. As great play outside. Pollard had nowhere to go.
Rams rush defense, solid enough in week 4, gave up 1 big run, still held San Francisco to 4 a carry overall.
Here's Wilson on the right side. Donald makes the play. Loss of 1.
Lots of drama on the table, perfect for where they're playing. Lay down your predictions and keys in the comments section, expecting a lot of them from these 2 fan bases. We can only fit 10 on the screen.
What? 27-24, 27-24, 2017, 24-21, 23-21, 27-20, 2017 and OT. Whoever this shook dude is, you're a smart man. Man, that is I'm offended. I'm offended at this. Let's start this fucking thing. Fuck YouTube, by the way. Fuck you, YouTube. God.
Welcome to the ESFFL podcast.
Fucking YouTube, man. It took me about 40 minutes to get this thing back together. I don't know. Let's just get this thing going. But the top that with the disrespect I'm seeing over here. 27-24, 27-24, 27-24, 23-20. It's a 3-point advantage. I do not like this. Do not like it. All right, finally back into the groove of things. It took forever, but we're here. Finally here. Week 4, first month in action of fantasy football. A lot to cover for the past 24 hours. Man, it has been crazy. Before we get into that, I'm Rage Against the Machine tank top because they just canceled their tour in 20, which is now canceled. That sucks. Today sucks. What the fuck? Hopefully the rest of the day doesn't suck and the rest of the show doesn't suck and the rest of these predictions that I have for potential trade opportunities does not suck as well. We'll go into that. If anybody has anything to say about anything, you can comment in YouTube on the live chat here. Say chat and comment up there. It'll pop up. Or you can just talk in the group chat and I will respond accordingly. Have all the chat going on. That. Let's see here. Where should we notes here? Let's just take a look at we'll get into that and look into some of the NFL standings right now because I think it's kind of just a testament to what the type of season we're seeing right now in football. Been a weird year, a really weird year, and I don't think there's really getting around that because kind of been the way fantasy has been right now. We're seeing in fantasy like things aren't really adding up, things aren't making sense over here. There. It's upside down in a way. Fantasy's kind of turned its head upside down or whatever, turned on its head, and we're seeing a lot of points coming from wide receivers, tight ends, defenses, flex positions, but really running backs have taken a step back. Even the pass catching backs, which was the trend for the past few years, those passing backs, half PPR studs, a backseat to these first round wide receivers who are killing the game right now. So the standings right now accordingly, let's see if we can zoom in on this. If you can take a look here, we have the Dolphins tied at number 1 with the Bills so far at 3-1. When it asked me at the beginning of the season, I was not a big Dolphins believer. Did make all the necessary moves to be a 3-1 team right now. We are tied with the Bills and Patriots at the bottom of the list at 1-3. Patriots at 1-3. Without Brady, I was like, okay, whatever. But with Mac Jones and the second year, for a lot of the parts, that was the same team that was really great with Mac Jones is deflating. Pun intended. Fuck the Patriots. It's just great to see. That's the one thing I'm really great to see here. If you can see, we have the Chiefs in a non-surprising 3-1 lead against the rest of the AFC West. But we have the Broncos and Chargers at 2-2, and Raiders getting their first win, first dub last week against the Broncos, putting them at 1 as well. If you ask me, between the two 1-3 teams, who would most likely turn it around between the Patriots and the Raiders, I'm taking the Raiders. Taking the Raiders to have a much bigger turnaround, more likely at least a chance to turn around than the Patriots. Again, fuck the Patriots. In the NFC North, we have a three-way tie at 2-2 with the Browns, Ravens, and Bengals, and the newly introduced Kenny Pickens leading the way for the Steelers at 1-3. They could just really use a top pick next year. Let's just say that. This is the biggest surprise for me right here. AFC South, the Jags are 2-2, leading the division over the Titans, just barely. But man, the Titans not look good and progressively look worse out the weeks. Colts, biggest flatline I've seen this year. The Texans are the only defeated team, not defeated, just only team to not have a win in the national. Going into the NFC, Eagles are 4-0. The only team to be 4-0, and that really bugs me. Cowboys, surprisingly 3-1. I had this team going 0-4 after the Dak injury Bucks game. I don't know how we're here, but we're here. This is the coolest part to me, whole overlook of the NFL right now. We have Niners, Rams, Cardinals, and Seahawks in a dead tie at 2-2, which I think is about right with how that division works out. A four-way tie, and I don't know who's leading the way. Cardinals are looking like the third. Seahawks are looking like the fourth. Rams just the L to the Niners. Beyond that, I think standings in another 4 weeks is probably going to look the same, just with a little bit more losses. NFC North, the Vikings are ahead of the Packers at 3-1, with the Packers also being at 3-1. Lions 1-3, Bears 2-2, pretty much on par. Another big surprise, last one before we head into the fantasy realm. Falcons at 2-2, alongside the Buccaneers, and the Panthers. Man, do they look bad? 1-3, man, 1-3. I'm gonna say here, I think Panthers play the Niners this week, and it's gonna be rough, man. I think Matt Rule is the hottest seat all when it comes to NFL, and man, I think there's a good chance that we do not see him as the head coach here in the next 2 to 3 weeks, if not this week, because it is not looking good with all the parts that have been coming together for that offense, and it's just worse somehow. How does it keep getting worse? I don't know, but that's where we are in NFL. So how ugly that looks is about how ugly things are in the fantasy world as well. Let's take a look at the standings here in our league, starting with the new number 1 in Diego and Harry Chubbs leading the way.
What the hell is even that?
What the hell is even that indeed? The Brown Harry Chubbs are leading the way, and it's not even close. 3-1, 3-1, 3-1. Myself, Steven, and Diego, but with a healthy 80-point lead here. I mean, what did we do? What did we do here? How did we get here? Nothing to take away from Diego's team. He's been putting out big numbers lately. And guess what? We play each other this week. So a lot of big, meaningful matchups here at the beginning of the second quarter of football. Technically, fantasy. Man, congratulations to Diego. We have myself trailing right behind with a 0.21 point advantage over Steven at 3-1. Steven taking the third spot there with the Madeira Mean Machines. Big win there last week against myself. I mean, the thing I could have done, had some great players perform. I will say, if you look real closely, you'll see a little turd here. Turd over there. You can't probably see it. I'll zoom in if I can't. Nope, can't. There we go. This guy right here. Little turd there against his points against, saying that he's had the easiest road to the 4 to the 4 spot. So let's just call it as it is. Let's see who else we got. We have the Yetis coming back at the 5th spot there, followed by Jared, Hunter, the Llamas, and Swoosh. And then the last 2 spots here, we have Zach McGill and the Gritty Gritty Bang Bangs, and Josh and the Singer Slide Dogs. So I don't know, man. It's kind of tough out here. It's rough in the streets. But this is why we talk about what we're talking about today, because this is exactly the time. This is exactly the time to get the most value off of trades and movements off waiver wires, which we did just see last night, that all these moves are necessary to be made before things start to become set in stone of what our season is going to be looking like for the rest of the year, or middle ground of the year, where there's not much of a chance to dig yourself out of a hole. So looking into just what happened last night, and let's start to move into the waiver wires here. We had a huge, I would say a record in waiver wire movement that I personally remember ever seeing. So if we can go into this laundry list here in big mode here, take a good look over here on the bottom side here. If you can't see down here, keep an eye over here. We're going to go into, I mean, this list is fucking massive. We'll start from the bottom and work our way up. Starting with Matt Breida, Josh picking up Matt Breida for no fab whatsoever. Dropping Dalton Schultz, which I don't know if that's the move you want to make right now, considering I think Josh is struggling, if I'm not certain, with his squad right now. If we can take a look at the roster real quick, who his tight ends are. Zach Ertz, and that's it. You know, I mean, if you really need to make the necessary moves, you do what you got to do. Stick with Zach Ertz. I think that's a good option. Is he better than Dalton Schultz? Probably. So a safe drop, a necessary drop. Matt Breida, though, I think that's just some Saquon Barkley handcuff movement there for 0 fab. Not bad. I like it a lot, actually. Then he goes up and takes Dak Prescott with 4 fab, dropping Robert Woods. Now, this one here is interesting because Robert Woods is now the lone lead receiver there. I don't think he necessarily moves into the number 1 spot for Tennessee. Someone else I think is coming up. I don't remember his name. Someone else will be coming up in that number 1 position. And then having Robert Woods remaining in the number 2 spot for Tennessee. Does that mean he does any much better now that what's his name? Treylon Burks is no longer there? I don't even know, because he wasn't really taking too much of the targets away anyway. So you weigh the quarterback necessity versus the Robert Woods roster spot. I mean, time will tell how that weighs out. Great pickup here by Zach Nichols and Latavius Murray, dropping Russell Gage, who I think at the end of the last game, bit of an injury there. Let's see if there's any information here on Russell Gage, and if you're considering picking him up. Limited with the hamstring on today's practice. So I don't know, man. I think there's a lot. There's as much drama going in with the Tampa Bay receiving core than there is in Tom Brady's marriage right now. If you haven't heard, Tom Brady is apparently lowering the fuck up because him and Giselle are having some issues. So we'll see how that all adds up. Got Latavius Murray here for $13 in fab with OBJ, doo-doo butter here and Zach. Just beating him out by 2 fab. Great move there, picking him up. Necessary for both the Zacks there. Moving on up, we have Jared Gerf. Picking up by Jared. Jared on Jared there. I like it. 17 fab, a good price to pay. Just beating out Josh by $1. With Josh really needing a quarterback here. He is dying for a quarterback. So Does Josh even start Dak here? Trevor Lawrence against Houston, you probably start that, but Dak on the come up probably ends up in your starting position here. I'm sure you would love Jared Goff as much as he did when he was with the Rams. Good job, Jared. Great outbid there. We have the gritty bang bangs picking up Josh Reynolds for 19 fab, dropping Mac Hollins, who I thought was pretty nice actually. Josh Reynolds, Mac Hollins with Amon-Ra St. Brown. Not in the lineup again. Probably going to be missing another game. Mac Hollins to me, Josh Reynolds, yes, in that Detroit offense where it's a necessity for them to put up at least 30, 35 points. I guess that's the move to make there. Mac Hollins is kind of rough. I think Hunter Renfrow is coming. I think he was dealing with an injury there, so he's going to be coming back in full force. Oh, sorry, it's been a long day. Minnesota Vikings get picked up by Hunter, dropping the Cleveland Browns, which, I mean, 20 fab to pick them up. Looking into their matchup this week, they have Chicago. It's a good move considering they got 10 points off New Orleans. Is it better than the Browns, though? Is it better than the Browns? They have the Chargers, New England, and Baltimore. I guess if you're considering the next couple weeks, it's the move to make, but I have a feeling that he'll be picking up a new defense here soon. So consider Hunter on the defense streaming board. Moving up, we have Josh again making some moves that this is what we're talking about, guys. This is how you get to your 0-3, your 1-3 teams back from the bottom of the barrel and back into those playoff positions here and making these moves. Josh is on pretty much at least every bid here with some great picks coming out of the waiver wire this week. George Pickens for 23 fab for me is considering what we use in our fab, $200. 23 fab over Diego 16, a bid from Zach and a bid from Steven. Steven putting up over 10% of his fab here with $1 with the $7 he has left. That sucks for him. That's a position he put himself in, though. So can't blame anybody else. Josh picking up Pickens is a great move here. With like we were talking about earlier with Pickett coming in, taking over the lead for the Steelers here. It's going to be fantastic for him. They've been working together in training camp. I think that's a great move here. And drop Darnell Mooney. I mean, it's a win-win-win for Josh there. Moving up, we have Zach picking up the Jags D for 30 fab over Diego for 14. Zach, I think, was looking for a defense here for the week to just kind of manufacture win. Let's look what we got going on currently. Dallas D against the Rams. Oh, yeah. You're not starting that no matter which side of the ball you are on for that game. Great pickup there. Tavo getting in the mix with Michael Gallup. I could have saw this one coming from a mile away. Tavo has to have a Cowboy at all times. I'm not hating. I wanted to pick him up as well. As you can see, 19 fab was bid on for me, and that was to see if I got bought out for the Raheem Mostert. We'll talk about that later. But 34 fab to acquire a great asset there. Shout out to Michael Gallup getting healthy again. Dropping Taysom Hill, I think that's a great move there. Got Zach McGill again for Caleb Huntley, taking that number 2 spot at the running back position for Atlanta, dropping Devontae Parker, bidding 39, beating out Jared for 14. Caleb Huntley, it's going to be interesting to see how Atlanta moves the ball. It seems like they really want to run the ball as much as possible in a perfect world, perfect game script. And I think later on we'll look into it, but Zach McGill is not healthy at running back right now. Still dealing with the DeAndre Swift injury there. So a Caleb Huntley move is necessary there. 39 fab is a little heavy for my price. A good little transition here. Going into my pick here at Raheem Mostert for a 51 big old fab bucks. Dropping Traylon Burks with turf toe or whatever bullshit. 3 fabs came out of there. I mean, 3 bids came out of there. beating out Hunter and Christian. $40 bid out of there. But to me, Raheem Mostert has turned things around amazingly. He's turned. We went from a 30% snap percentage, taking about 25% of the carries. And now he's coming around and he's looking like the guy for Miami, which is a great offense to have. They are -2 this week, so it seems like they really, really want to get the ball rolling here. Let's take a quick look in here. His snap percentage has gone from 42, 55, 56, 72% of the snaps against Cincinnati. Playing against the Jets here, I like him there as a wait and see. Like, is this for real? A necessary start if it is. But man, this guy's looking healthy and healthier, especially coming off that ACL injury. It's great to see him back in the mix and at full use for a great offense. Lastly, the biggest bid of them all for the week, you have Tavo claiming Tyler Algier, dropping Kenneth Gainwell for 55 fab over Diego, putting down 21 fab here. But man, it's a good acquisition for Tavo here, needing some depth here. I think that really helps him out. He has Josh Jacobs, has James Conner, but James Conner has not been great. And when you look at the depth, I don't really see anything. I see Tyler Algier. I see Josh Jacobs and James Conner. Tavo literally has 3 running backs, and that is before he dropped Kenneth Gainwell and picked up Tyler Algier. So we're gonna look into that here in our matchmaking segment of the podcast. But great movement on the waiver wire today. Love to see it. Very necessary for a lot of teams. Teams up at the upper echelon of the league. That's how you stay on top, is by making those picks and not depleting your fab by week 3, Steven. That's not how we do this. Sorry to say it, man. That's just not how it's gonna go down here. Yeah, that's gonna be all of the waiver wire acquisition picks here. Let's take a look here at my list here. All right, I got nothing else here but to go into this matchmaking segment over here, and get things rolling. Basically, what I want to do here is take a look at some of these teams in the trade block exclusively, to see where a lot of the movement should be coming from. Starting with the lower echelon teams, like the 10 seed, 9 seed, and 8 seed with Josh, Zach McGill, and Christian here. So let's go big mode once again. Kind of take that mode there. Since we're here, if anybody wants to kind of talk football, talk fantasy, talk about whatever, anything in specific, I can definitely get you going on the stream and kind of like live chat, kind of go over this stuff as it's happening and figure it out together. So let me know. There's a spot waiting for you. All right, into the mix here. Looking at the breakdown here. There we go. Let's go. That's good enough. All right, so here's the entire trade block here. What the rosters look like all around. It is, a great breakdown to see, and you can do this in Sleeper on the app on your phone to kind of see what the what's the word? What the the thing, the whole picture, the big picture. There we go. The whole big picture of fucking landscape of the rosters across the league. I got a list here. I'm gonna go ahead and go over some of these here. Number 1 on my list of the matchmaking for these teams, starting with Josh and the very necessary moves that he must make. I have DK Metcalf as his number 1 trade target for himself to release. Looking at his roster, we have Two quarterbacks, Joe Mixon, Barkley, Harris, Damian Harris, that is. Samaje Perine in the handcuff with Joe Mixon, Matt Breida, Rashad Penny, Lamb, Metcalf, Pittman, Pickens, and the rest of the guys. I like DK Metcalf here as a trade pickup for anybody else, or a trade, a trade token, a trade personnel, a person to trade with, a trade pawn here, because DK Metcalf has been really nice here. I like him and the way him and Geno have been kind of slowly building on something here. Every week he's had more and more fantasy points. He's had a fluctuation of snap percentages throughout the games, but it seems like the Seahawks offense is starting to click a little bit, even with Geno there. If say God forbid, knock on wood, something happens to Geno Smith, I kind of still like Drew Lock there to kind of take the reins and keep an offense at least actionable. So, wide receiver 35, 23 PPR. He's a great pickup with a good forecast for the future here. Just because they have New Orleans, Arizona, Chargers, Giants, Arizona again. I think there's just a good span of teams to at least have a chance to have a floor of a flex for sure. So my matchmaking here, I like DK Metcalf to be traded here to in return. So we're gonna trade him to Najee Harris in Diego in return for DK Metcalf. Hear me out here, right? I know we're talking about a big time running back, a big time wide receiver. These guys last year, I mean, great players. But looking at what things are, and things have completely changed here. Najee Harris dealing with yet another new quarterback here, and an offensive line that I don't know if they know what their job is to do, especially in the run game. Very difficult to think, but still hope, especially with Pickett coming out there. Currently running back 26 in both standard and PPR. He had an injury at the beginning of the season, slight injury, came back from there, and has seen a decent output for here. Like, he's a similar spot at this point. Week 4, Najee is not that like top 6 or 7 guy right now in this brand new offense, and considering the games that he has coming up, I think if you're Josh, you bite the bullet on this next 1 or 2 matchups, 3, maybe 4. It's a tough span if you're Diego to hold on and start this guy. Buffalo, Tampa Bay, Miami, Philly, and get a bye to meet up with New Orleans, Cincy, Indy, and then maybe have something at the end of the year. So I just don't see the upside as much, but I do see the potential there. So Najee Harris for DK Metcalf, who is the number 1 in Seattle, with huge potential to get things going in an offense that is necessary for them to get things going. Josh gets a solid running back. Diego gets a much necessary a necessity in the flex spot. There. I also like as a second and third pick here as trade landing spots for DK Metcalf. I like DK to go to J.K. Dobbins in swoosh. That's another same story here. I think it's just more so necessary for swoosh to pick up a flex spot with Mike Williams and Deebo Samuel kind of having these roller coasters of outputs here. Give DK to swoosh, get J.K. Dobbins to Josh, and throw a little bit of fab in there to sweeten the deal. Another spot I like real quick was maybe for Rashad Bateman. Get that going. So have that as well. Next spot here I have for Josh. I have unfortunately having to get rid of Joe Mixon. Dire times call for dire measures. Yeah, I like Joe Mixon here. I don't know how it's going to happen, but I like Joe Mixon be traded to Zach Nichols for James Robinson. All right, Joe Mixon for James Robinson makes a lot of sense to me. Some say maybe a lateral move. I think it's necessary. I think you're getting the upside or when it's necessary for both teams. What I mean by that is Joe Mixon Riley right now is kind of struggling with this offensive line that is still figuring themselves out. It's a very talented, very expensive offensive line, but they have the time to figure it out here later down the season. So I guess what you're saying is here, if you're Zach, punt the next couple weeks for the Bengals to figure it out down the line, which eventually they will. Joe Mixon is getting all the reps. He's the leader in platoon running backs here somehow, but not by any means a leader in points. Right now, James Robinson is the running back 11 and running back 13 in PPR. He's doing amazing, but I think it's a sell high for James Robinson. Looking to sell high, Joe Mixon is right there. You're probably going to get maybe another game or two of great output, but we just saw in Philly what happened in 2.7 points against a great defense. Had some like really good big plays, which James Robinson has always been known for. But I think you sell high there for a really nice acquisition in Joe Mixon. I also like this here, Bengal trade here. You go Joe Mixon to Jared for Jamar Chase. Jamar Chase is a write-off at this point with the talent that Jared has at wide receiver. Jamar Chase, Devontae Adams, Jerry Jeudy, Chris Olave, and Deontay Johnson. All hitters, all starters. So what can you get in return? You get rid of Jamar Chase, get Joe Mixon in the same offense. But and imagine here, if you're Jared, start Devontae Adams, start Olave, start Deontay at the flex, and now you have Joe Mixon, who, yes, like we just said, is struggling right now. But I do think that he will be coming up big time later down the road. It's a matter of time. He's gaining opportunities. If he can stay healthy, which I think is just as likely for Jamar Chase, for Joe Mixon, why not? When you have running backs like Miles Sanders and Antonio Gibson at the start of this all, Antonio Gibson, it's a matter of days before Brian Robinson comes in and takes the reins there, takes over for Washington. So you need to make a move now before it's too necessary for you to make a move for running back. I like Joe Mixon or Jamar Chase straight up the most out of those three right there. To swoosh here. Looking at Freeman's swoosh team, a lot of talent at running back. Not a lot of wide receiver options, but a lot of running back options. We have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 plus running backs here on his squad. So let's look into releasing a couple of those. And it's probably the one you're not thinking of. Of all the running backs that we got here, talked about J.K. Dobbins, but I'm saying let's talk about letting go of Dalvin Cook. All right, I know that's kind of eyebrow raising. Let go of Dalvin Cook, Minnesota's clicking. What are you talking about? Well, if you look at swoosh here, I think, he's got 134 fab, but he's got Debo and Mike Williams, Rashad Bateman. Just these really either big games or low floors, and they rely on the big plays to get things done. One out of three of those guys is going to do something here. So let's get a more consistent wide receiver. I like Dalvin Cook for Amon-Ra St. Brown with Steven, but then also trading over Cam Akers as well to fill in that running back spot. So Steven gets rid of Cam Akers and Amon-Ra St. Brown, which, yes, he's not healthy right now, but that's part of the trade value. Dalvin Cook is still kind of a injury-prone, injured running back. And he's going to separate his shoulder again here soon. There we go. Now we're professional. Dalvin Cook, I'm saying for Amon-Ra St. Brown, who, yes, he's injured right now, but he will come back, and that is a guy you can plug in every single week as a flex, no questions. Then you also have Cam Akers, who's definitely turning into the guy for the Rams, which, yes, their offense is struggling to have any type of run game going. I think against this Dallas squad, you'll see that they're going to be able to get the run game going on an average pace for an average game, and you're going to see a lot of Cam Akers in there. So might be worth the move to pick up 2 guys you can start every day and let go of Dalvin Cook, who honestly for Steven is going to be nice because you have Jonathan Taylor, who's hurting right now. You got Cam Akers, who's up and coming, but you also have Jeff Wilson, and then Leonard Fournette. I think if you really top that with Dalvin Cook, Leonard Fournette, and now you can start throwing in all these other wide receivers here and probably start at least 3 running backs in your rotation. It's juicy for Steven. And if he doesn't like that, then throw some fab at him. I mean, the dude has a change in his pocket when it comes to fab, so I like that very much. One alternate move for Swoosh here. Okay, say you want to hold on to Dalvin, right? Let's look at Alvin Kamara. Let's actually look into Alvin Kamara here. Boy, is bad. Running back 6'6", currently questionable after missing at the last second Minnesota's game. Already missed 2 games out of 4, averaging about 65 percentage of the snaps. Has only rushed the ball 24 times in a month. 11 receptions, yes, but he hasn't scored a single touchdown. Has more fumbles than he has altogether. It's tough, man. I think it's about time to let him go. So why would I want to trade, pick him up? Give me 1 second. I gotta. 1 second. Okay. Had to talk with the old lady, but we're back. We're here. All right. So Alvin Kamara, right? Alvin Kamara. Why would I want to pick him up? Why would I want to trade for him? Because, dude, the schedule is nice. We have Seattle, Cincy, Arizona, Vegas, Baltimore, Pittsburgh. Got the Rams, got the Niners, Tampa Bay. But then after the bye, Atlanta, Cleveland, Philly. Philly to end things off. And I think at that point, yes, that's when we're like, okay, championship game, if we get there, that's going to be rough. Man, I like Alvin Kamara here. And for talking about trading, I think you have to lower your expectations with Kamara, right? But he's not going to be the top first to say. I don't think he's gonna be a top 8, maybe not even a top 10 this year. So let's lower expectations here. Let's get Kamara, right? And we add Mike Williams, which, yes, we love Mike Williams. He's doing great things. Combo that package and trade for Josh Jacobs and Tyler Lockett with Tavo. So Tyler Lockett is the same reasons that we talked about with DK. I like that with Tyler Lockett. Still a very feisty number 1 or number 2. Averaging a great floor. Wide receiver number 24 in PPR. 11 receptions, 8 receptions past 3 games. Snap percentage is on the field. He's going to be on the field. I like him to kind of alleviate the hurt with getting rid of Mike Williams. But then you get Josh Jacobs. Get that going as well. Plus, throw a little fab in there. I think that sweetens the deal. Either way, you kind of have to figure that out. I don't know. Just to see what that kind of looks like there. To get Kamara, Mike Williams, trade that for Josh Jacobs and Tyler Lockett, because Josh Jacobs has been nice. I'm not sure how long that's gonna last. So Josh Jacobs, and it's Christian's guy. He's gonna do what it takes to get another Raider on the team. Maybe give up Darren Waller or something like that. Trade tight ends, include that in the package there. But I like that for both teams there. Tavo getting Kamara, which is a great guy to have on your team, period, especially when you have no fucking running backs, including one of his running backs is Cordero Patterson, who just went on IR. So, Connor, Kamara, Algier. Oh, man. Yeah, I can't be doing that, bud. Got to get a running back here. Let's go. I think let's go Zach McGill here. Go Zach McGill and
I say right foot creep, walking with that heater.
Okay, I like this trade matchup the best. This matchmaking thing has got me going, and I like this one the best here. Brandon Cooks. Hear me out. It's Brandon Cooks. Yes, I know. We're talking about Brandon Cooks and the 3-1 Texans. But you go that for Kaimi Herbert. What the fuck is his name? Khalil Herbert. Straight up. Right? Give Herbert to Zach McGill because he's dealing with Swift, Gordon, Hill, Mitchell, Huntley. Get rid of that. Bring in Khalil Herbert. Zach actually has some great wide receivers here. He has a long list of them: Jefferson, Godwin, Cooks, Curtis Samuel, Juju, Josh Reynolds, Julio. I mean, is it really going to hurt you to get rid of a Brandon Cooks type of player? I don't think so, but I think it gives that same upside we're talking about with maybe with Rashad Bateman or Mike Williams. Bring Brandon Cooks on board. Dish out a little, Khalil Herbert. That doesn't hurt you at all. You got Devin Singletary and Kamara and Dobbins. You can easily fill that role. You're benching at least one of them. So what does it matter? I think that's a good fit for both you guys. Everyone wins. All right? Everyone wins. You're either going to both lose or you both win, but it's going to be fair. That's the most fair trade I see, in a little bit of like 30-minute deliberation of looking over the board here. A really good one that I like here, which involves Diego, right? We like to kind of find fits that match up with our teams. Maybe Tavo gets a Cowboy, Christian gets a Raider here. Send a Niner to Zach McGill because he's gonna take it no matter what. I like Melvin Gordon to Diego in exchange for Kareem Hunt. Now, yes, we saw what we all saw in that Denver game where nobody in that backfield looked that great. But if you really think about it, what is Denver going to do the rest of the year? They're going to have to rely on Melvin Gordon. They have to. Yes, they picked up Latavius Murray, but I don't think you're going to see a lot of that. I think one of these guys are going to drop down. And even with Mike Boone, yes, Melvin Gordon has fumbled. He's always fumbled, but he's always came back. He has always came back and done better. He has had like one or two maybe turnovers here, but he's always come back. So like, let's look at who is it? Melvin Gordon. Let's look at last year's results, right? Because he was fumbling like crazy. Had the 2 against San Francisco. You know what? Everyone's gonna have a couple fumbles against San Francisco. But if we look about last year, we had 3 fumbles all last year, and he was doing great with splitting the back last year. Had a lot of good points on the board. A solid 11-point floor. So what the fuck did he have blue hair? Anyway, I think you're getting a great floor player for Diego, which you can start in exchange for. I mean, you can get rid of Michael Carter really, and you could start Melvin Gordon. All the while, you get rid of Kareem Hunt, who you have Nick Chubb. He is literally the number 1 running back right now. He is the number 1 running back. You don't need both. You have the guy. And this dude is still splitting carries here. And he's the number 1. They're going to ride with Nick. You can afford to get rid of the backup there. Get yourself a guy in Melvin Gordon. It's a Bronco. It's going to work out for you just fine. I think that is a great trade for both you guys. Sort of lateral, but I think it works perfectly for both you guys. Last one that I have here, which is my favorite one, coming out, the Yetis. Favorite one real quick before we wrap things up here. Let's go with Zach, the Yetis, and one of these wide receivers that was very high on early on in the season. Really good, has always been really good. Let's go Allen Robinson, and let's just drop him. Let's just drop him outright. Send it and trade him to the waiver wire. Get Allen Robinson off your rosters, because he can put up a 30-point game next. Okay, then maybe not a 30-point, but a 20-point game next week, and he would still be in the bottom wide receiver 3 room there. He is not going to be. He's nothing unless he puts together 2 straight weeks of actual fantasy relevant games. Then consider picking him up. But Allen Robinson needs to be dropped. He's wasting a roster spot. Let him go. Let him go gently into the night. It's over. Stop trying to trade him. You're gonna get nothing. I don't care what Sean McVay says it's on. Oh, it's not on him. It's on us. It's on. You're not saying anything. The dude's been on the field 100%, damn near 100% of the snaps, and he has averaged 4-5 targets a game. Dude's got to go. That's gonna be my final word on that. Allen Robinson sucks. Drop him. Stop trying to trade him. You're not gonna get $1, Fab. Nobody pick him up. All right, just drop him. That is it. All right, Allen Robinson needs to go. And that's it. So going over all those guys, I think there's a lot of trades to potentially happen. And there's, multiple trade offers coming out right now. I know I have 2 right here that I'm not going to expose myself. Could happen. But moves need to be made here in a couple leagues, or in a couple teams. We saw 2 defeated teams go get wins. We saw 2 undefeated teams take losses. The league is that much closer. You're that much closer to becoming in that playoff spot, sneak into the last, 4 spot, 5 spot. And you're that much more likely now to drop into that toilet bowl bracket. So figure out a couple moves to break into the next couple games here, because bye weeks are starting to occur here. We have bye weeks rolling in now that we're in the next month of the football season. So you need to start thinking ahead here. Like, your starters are not going to be your starters every week. You're going to have a bye week to think about and making some moves here. Kind of a longer one here with all the difficulties earlier. That's going to wrap it up for me. Make sure you pay attention to what's going on in the league. It's been awesome. Things have been going great here. I want to see some trades, all right? I want to see some trades. Let's make it happen.
Welcome to the ESFFL podcast.